Hello everyone. So I just finished grading the first round, I guess, of reflection papers, and I wanted to clarify some topics because I feel like while we got the point of the assignment, some of our perspectives were a little skewed and we're forgetting some key components to eyewitness testimonies. I had a lot of people questioning their existence, having this existential crisis over what memories are real and which ones are false. I've had people with conspiracy theories kind of coming in, and also why eyewitness testimonies are completely invalid. No, that is not the message I sought to convey, and so I'm trying to just clarify this for you. With false memories, yes, it can be implanted. Yes, it seems kind of scary that they can be manipulated like that. But also, it's going to depend on someone's suggestibility and a whole array of factors that come into the situation, right? There's going to be the stress of the situation, how that can affect our perceptions. And it's supposed to demonstrate the fragility and the flawed nature of human consciousness. So it's not necessarily someone's out to get us to implant these false memories, but more that our minds are trying to reconstruct these experiments, and they're not always perfect. In the case of eyewitness testimonies, there have been a lot of changes and innovations to how they go about eyewitness testimonies to prevent people from being incarcerated for crimes they didn't commit. And you also have to remember, eyewitness testimonies aren't the only evidence that in the justice system that is being prevalently used, right? There's a whole slew of evidence that is needed, but typically eyewitness testimonies carry a lot of weight, and so that's something we look at as well. But remember, that's not the only evidence we use to prosecute people, because that wouldn't be fair. And so what I did, and try to clear up some of these topics, is in your Unit 7 module, I included a link at the bottom of the page. It says how the identification process is being reformed. So if you click that, it opens up this page called the Innocence Project. And the Innocence Project is seeking to kind of illuminate the issue around eyewitness misidentification and helping people who have been wrongfully incarcerated to get out and kind of prevent this in the future. And so there's a bunch of information, but a couple things I wanted to highlight was they talk about a standard lineup, and when the person, the eyewitness, identifies the perpetrator, but then they also talk about how to improve those eyewitness identifications and what states have adopted those improvements, with North Carolina being one of them. So kind of look over this and know that while at first it seems like, wow, there's a lot wrong with this system, we're consistently striving to look at the research and to amend the process when necessary. And while the whole idea of false memories, you think, well, did this really happen when I was a child? That can be kind of scary, but I think on the whole, what I can safely say is the event probably occurred in your life if you're remembering it. But maybe the details are a little skewed, because that's what's going to be hard to reconstruct, is some of those details. If you had something very traumatic happen in your life and you're just, remembering it out of the blue, the odds are that's your memory, your brain pulling that out of your long-term memory. And know that with therapy sessions and psychologists, they're not trying to manipulate people and to implant memories and have this malicious intent. They're seeking to help people. And sometimes that's why psychologists go through so much training, to understand how much weight their words carry and how that could change someone's perception of an event, right? They know how to recognize different emotional cues and the different connotations words carry. So just know that the intent is never to implant the false memory. They really are trying to help people progress through trauma and through experiences and to recall information when necessary. They're not actively trying to implant false memories, because that would be an ethical breach, and it's not what psychologists stand for. And in those specific studies where the implanted memory took hold, where those false memories were made, those people were debriefed after. And often in psychological studies, pretty much consistently, even with something that you may not think is that traumatic, like a counting task? I don't know. There is a debriefing that says if you feel any discomfort or lasting implications from this study, please let us know because we will direct you to counseling services. So they do offer counseling services to kind of make sure that anyone who has gone through different studies don't have lasting negative implications. I think that's enough on that topic, but I just wanted to clarify some things because remember, we're looking at this big picture. There are so many factors that can come in and affect our memories, right? But that doesn't mean all our memories are false. It doesn't mean eyewitnesses are completely invalid. And it doesn't mean that every time someone is accused of a crime, it's false, right? There are just a lot of factors that can play in, and there have been cases where false accusations have been made. That does not mean that the majority of cases have had false accusations. So I just want to clarify that, especially when in the light of the Me Too movement and all of these cases coming to light of accused sexual assault and abuse, that it's not all fake or fake memory or lies. You know, there is a lot of credence to some of it. So just be careful with that line of thinking. That's my warning. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week.